I appreciate it. What I've learned over the years is that Iran is very good at losing battles, but they're also very good at, I won't even say winning negotiations, but I would say sustaining negotiations. So I think in terms of the normal flow of diplomacy, what we're looking at is essentially the highs and the lows. We've gone through a military kinetic piece, and then that broke into the diplomatic piece, which of course we know ended up not lasting very long. And then the president decided to then return back to the kinetic piece. So my assessment is essentially the Iranians respond well to kinetic action and maybe less well to diplomacy.
Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky, he will be in the U.S. this week for Senator Graham's funeral. And of course, we know he has that meeting with President Trump at the White House. He says Russia gave Iran satellite intelligence. He added Iran has helped Russia with drones. Are the Iran war and Russia-Ukraine war becoming one intelligence battle at this point, Raymond?
That's a great question. So it's a small world out there, as you know, and countries have allies and also enemies. So it's fair to say that, Ukraine's obviously been on the receiving end of a lot of aid from the United States. And as a quid pro quo has provided a lot of technological advancement when it comes to drones. Undoubtedly, Iran and Russia and China and the other part of the world are sharing information as they always have. So I'd say this is nothing normal. I'd say we're just maybe seeing a bit more of this in the public arena.
On Truth Social today, President Trump posted an AI image. He's threatening a strike on Karg Island, which of course is responsible for 90% of Iran's crude oil exports. The president has made this threat before, Raymond, and you know that. But is the president at this point using psychological pressure, or is this a heavy-handed warning that gives Iran some time to prepare?
Yeah, so I think the president would probably has a second career creating AI-generated memes. He seems pretty creative on that front. I'm not sure what tools he's using or what time he's doing this. Yeah, Karg Island. Okay, look, Karg Island is a very tactical place, of course. It's the majority, 90% of Iran's exported Brent crude goes out through Karg Island. 20% of China's Brent crude comes basically from Karg Island. So in terms of boots on the ground, I think my humble opinion, Secretary of State Rubio, incredibly savvy person, student of history. The president also, Cold War, World War II era. I think people need to. I think people have underestimated their knowledge in a sense. I think, clearly they know about Desert One and they know about the last time that we sent troops into Iran back in the late 70s, early 80s in terms of the hostage rescue. They also know over 20 years of Middle Eastern conflict that the folks in that region tend to want to suck us in, right? Because then we're in a position we can't get out of. So if I had to guess, I'd say the senior policymakers in our country fully aware of this, have been told repeatedly that, hey, troops on the ground, not a good idea. Try to come up with some other outcomes. And that's basically the last resort.
Ray, I have less than 30 seconds, but I want to get this question in.
Please.
Big picture, what's the most dangerous thing U.S. intelligence may not know about Iran's next move?
Yeah, so to me, it comes down to the terrorist piece. It comes down to the fact that 20,000 passports in Venezuela. Hezbollah, by the way, has a huge presence, has always had a historical presence in Venezuela. So under the Maduro regime, 20,000 passports were issued to Iranians, essentially. And they can travel everywhere, and they are traveling everywhere. And we've seen some of this happen and play out in Europe already, as well as the UK.
Right.
So my big fear is the homeland. My big fear is these folks are out there running around. I'm praying that law enforcement has those names after the raid on Maduro and do whatever they can to track those folks down.
All right, I enjoyed our conversation. We hope you come back, Ray. Former CIA Senior Operations Officer Raymond White. Of course, thank you.
Yeah,
let's go back to that breaking news.